Both. Um, Officially opening the meeting now. Looking forward to a great meeting. Great to have David back as a presenter. Always do an outstanding job. And that's really all I have to say. I'd like to pass it on to Mike to make announcements now. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Eckhart. Well, I don't have very much to say either, so I hope David's ready. Only one or two announcements, just the usuals, really. I haven't yet done it because I forgot, but I'll do it during the meeting. I'll introduce a new thread on the message board for today's Home Movies meeting. And if you have any questions or comments about the meeting afterwards, if you'd like to use that thread, that would be lovely. Just nice housekeeping so that everything is held together. Just in case you haven't been to the last couple of meetings, NMUG is raising its subscription at the beginning of next year. It's all sorts of reasons, but one of them, of course, is inflation. It'll be raised from $30 a year to $40 a year, but for every single person in the organization at the moment, if you change your subscription plan to resubscribing, and Dan has given me this lovely graphic to show you how to do that. You just go to your name, assuming you're signed in, go to your name, click on the little downward facing arrow, choose subscriptions, registrations, and then choose change plan. There are no strings attached to this, but obviously it's in our best interests that as many of our members are in a rolling subscription as possible. So if you do that, we will honor the $30 subscription for as long as the $40 normal annual sub is in place. So it's well worth doing, and we hope that everybody will take advantage of that. Dennis DiGiacomo is here next week, and as you all know, because we've been advertising this for please excuse me, for a little while. He'll be answering questions on security. There's a week to go, so if you have any burning questions, please send them to questionsanswers@icloud.com, and Dennis will do his very best to answer all questions next week. David, of course, is with us today talking about converting and watching home movies. Really looking forward to this because this is something I did myself a couple of years ago. But before introducing him, it's my honor and privilege and delight to welcome Sheeta, and who will just talk about questions and introduce David. All yours.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheeta.
Thank you very much, Mike. Everyone, we welcome you. We want to have a very lively presentation today. We want you to be active. So please put your questions in the chat pod. We'll get to them as soon as we can. And with that, David Abramowitz, it's all yours.
Excellent. Hi, everybody. It's been very crazy here, so I'm very, very happy to see all your faces, or most of your faces, and get back into the swing here. Oh boy. Okay, so this was a mass project of mine years ago. Before I get into that, little update, if you will, I guess. I know some of us are coming out of holiday, so Happy New Year. Hope everyone has a happy, healthy one. I lost my job after being at the same company for 24 years. So that was my present in August. And I have been majorly upskilling and reinventing. So just yesterday, passed my CompTIA Network Plus exam. Not even 3 weeks before that, passed my Security Plus exam. And provided that everything is still in one piece in Atlanta, I'm heading down there at the end of the month to the EC Council boot camp for Certified Ethical Hacker training. So you behave yourselves, or else. And then we'll see what the next adventure brings.
You'll be able to give us some good tips after you do that hacker thing, won't you?
Maybe, or I might have to, be very secret.
All right.
But it's very cool stuff, and before you understand how hackers behave and what they're after, you have to be able to take stuff apart, understand how it works, and get into the mindset. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, my white hat, right? Or white hat. But yeah, so it's been a real crazy time. I did have a trip to Israel in June as part of the delegation from the U.S. Chamber to Cyber Week. And that was both a powerful, meaningful, and devastating trip. As you might imagine, they took us to an army base and showed us the unedited 45-minute videos that were taken by Hamas. And very disappointingly, that's a word, there were no members of the U.S. government for the first time in many, many years present at the conference. But nevertheless, it was quite an experience. Happy to be safe back at home. And hopefully that whole situation, without getting into politics, gets resolved soon. Okay, enough of that checking in. Let's get down to business. So, today, why are we here? Oops, I'm going to go back. I'm going to do my dun, dun, dun. There we go. So you have all of these home movies. Maybe like me, you shot them all on 8mm video. Maybe you go back to the VHS days. There are all kinds of ways to do the conversion. I'm not going to get too deep into those other than to share a quick way to do one if you want to do it yourself. And other than that, it really depends on the format that you have your original video in. So let's get on with it. Here's today's agenda. So these are basically the 5 steps. We want to be able to convert the movies into digital format. The next thing you have to have is home sharing on the Mac and the Apple TV. Then, oddly enough, we're going to visit the Apple TV app. If you remember back when this all used to be done in iTunes, and then there was some sharing in iTunes, and Apple moved movies out and TV shows out and all kinds of kookiness. So now everything video, and another odd thing is that on the Apple TV, you'll still notice there's a movies app and there's a TV shows app, but they're useless because all they do is just point you to the Apple TV app. Anyway, we're going to get our movies, and I'll show you an example here of how to do that, importing it into Apple TV. And then from then on, everything, all the magic happens on the Apple TV side. So let's talk about equipment. Now, if you are like me and you go all the way back to the VHS days, and a lot of your movies are in VHS format, you have some options. Now, let's say you have less than 10 tapes, we'll call it, because if you have 50, 100 tapes, you're not going to want to take this path. So part of the situation here is if you are on VHS tape or you've got 8mm tapes, you're going to have the original player. So for the 8mm, you have to have a handy cam. For the VHS tapes, you have to have a VHS player. And other than garage sales and maybe the back of Sheeta's closet somewhere stored up, you may not have access to said machines. At one point, my wife and I were going to go to like Best Buy, get a player, do the conversion, and then do the old retail return. But it turned out we didn't have to do that. One thing they did point out was if you do have something like an 8mm camera and all your tapes are the little tapes, get yourself a rewinder. Because if you have any large number of tapes, then you're going to really wear out the heads in the camera itself, constantly rewinding every single tape. And that could bring your project to a quick halt. So get yourself a rewinder, even for the VHS too. Okay, so this is a device that I actually used when I was converting the tapes. This is a little box called the Canopus ADVC 100, and it's a converter box. This is old. I'm sure they make other things now, of course, currently unavailable. But you'll want something like this. And essentially what it does is it takes the feed that you can see in this picture here. So it takes the feed, let's say you've got your 8mm camera, you take the output from that, input into here, and then the output from this box into the Mac. And that's the way you go about converting them into a format that the Mac can understand. That's one option. There are other converter boxes like this, and there were later models. I'm just giving you an example here. If you wanted to do that yourself, that will work for anything really that you can plug into this box. You can see it's got the red and white and yellow, the composite video that was from the VHS days. There are other interfaces in here. I think this one is so old that it actually has FireWire in the back there on the far left. So that won't work anymore, but there are updated models with USB. So something like this video converter is one option. Another thing that you will need if you're converting DVDs, if you have all your home movies, which eventually we did, after I did all this conversion with the Canopus box, we used the good old faithful, remember the iDVD that Apple had, and it put all these lovely themes on your videos, and that was what we did, and then burn those all to DVDs. So let's say you have DVDs of home movies, you're going to want a drive. And I've got this one here, I believe. Now, Otherworld Computing, MacSales.com has just been a great place over the years to get memory. Remember when we used to be able to open up our machines and put more memory in them, or swap out hard drives, or change all different kinds of components? These guys were just fantastic, and their customer service was great. So this OWC Slim here in the middle is just a very thin drive that reads DVDs, CDs, Blu-rays, and connects via USB. And that will allow you to plop your home movie in there, and use the program that I'm going to show you on to convert that from DVD to digital format. Now, if you do not want to do any of this yourself, and if you don't want to be insane like me and have a project that takes you months, then you do have the Magic Costco option. Now, the Magic Costco option was at Costco.com in their photo section, and then they stopped doing it, and then they moved it out to this. So the link here is CostcoNext.com, and they have a new brand called Capture now. They moved all their photo business out of Costco to Shutterfly. And here they moved everything over to this Capture brand. So they will take your videos. You can see here they got the VHS, the 8mm. They even go back and as far as reel to reel, if you've got those. I still have my Godzilla meets Ghidorah or something on reel to reel. But you can take any one of those and you tell them how many tapes you have, what kind of format you have on it. You do need to be a Costco customer. But hey, for $35 or $70, if this is going to save you a ton of time to get the membership just to do this, it may be worth it. So this would be I've got a box of 100 tapes, and there's no way I'm going to spend all this time doing it myself option. Now, the app that I'm going to show you to use to convert is called Handbrake. The website is handbrake.fr. So they're out of France. And Handbrake is a free open source translator, which for some reason has decided to blinkety blink all these things on the screen. Stay still. Well, I'll go off this in a second if that's distracting. But basically, Handbrake will take in these DVDs and it will do the conversion for you. So if you only have a handful of them, this is a very good option, and it's free. So you just need this and the DVD drive, and you're good to go. Oh, it stopped. So let's take a look at how you might do that. All right. So I have preemptively, and we'll take a look at some of these features that Handbrake has here too. So it's really, really very nifty. I have taken the liberty of popping in Willy Wonka, one of the and the chocolate.